Are we ready?
Ready?
Ready? Good afternoon. My name is Todd Sievert. I'm chairman of the Finance Committee. It's about 6:06 on June 8th of 2026. We are here together about 3 issues that are coming before this committee. To my right is Mrs. Westfall. To my left is Mr. Whiddon. And I believe that the first one is to provide a recommendation to council authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety to advertise for bids and enter into a multi-year contract with the Internet telephone provider for all city facilities at a cost not to exceed $180,000 per year. And presenting on that will be Mr. Titterington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we are at the first quarter of next year looking at the expiration of our current internet telephone provider, Metronet. That is after a 3-year contract with 3 one-year extensions. So it came up fairly quickly. I know it's rarer than you would like, but this is very advanced notice. But we expect that we might get some competition for bidding, and if another provider comes in, then they put their own infrastructure in. So lead time is very important to bid it and then get an award. Given that we're looking possibly for stability's purposes, a 5-year contract with the potential for 1-year renewals, if we all agree, and assuming that they keep up with the technology, any technology changes that happen in the interim. We do would request not to exceed $180,000 for each 12-month period, and that is split up in the various funds included in the annual budget as we go along. And we are not, because we have such a lead time, we're not asking for emergency legislation.
How would you define multi-year? No more than 3?
Multi-year would be more than 1 year.
No, I appreciate the definition, but you say it's a multi-year contract, but you don't define.
That was an easy one. I'm sorry.
What the term of the contract would be.
The term of the contract would be for 5 years. So
5
it
years.
would give us an annual cost as part of the bid, and then I'm not sure. I haven't seen the bid specifications for the last one, but there may be set numbers for each year, and then those are not automatic renewals. After the 5 years, we would mutually have to agree that we're going to extend it a 6th, 7th, etc.
Okay, and then there's a term in here that says telephone provider. Is that for cell phone use?
No, that's our wired system. It's all voice over internet, VOA.
And then the last question I had on this, and it really isn't relevant to this per se, but at one point in time there was some discussion about having open Wi-Fi downtown, and I know that became an issue again during Strawberry Festival as people tried to transact credit card payments downtown. And that really isn't germane to necessarily this. I think this will be fine. But have there been any further conversations about that, or would that be something we could include with this bid since we have plenty of time?
No, it would be two totally different things. These are facility connections. That base could be built up. There are challenges with that. Number one, at an event like this, it could overwhelm anything unless we had a very, very robust and expensive open network downtown. Number one. Number two, if it's on 24/7 and not turned on and turned off for special events, then it just gets overwhelmed because you'll have, we have residential, we have businesses in there, and everybody would start just attaching to that public Wi-Fi, saving themselves quite a bit of money every month, which isn't by itself a bad thing until it does. We do hit our capacity, and then those that are casual users are bumped off and bounced off, and they have the same issues as we had this past weekend.
Okay.
So we've looked at it before. The technology we're not sure is there yet to really be able to segregate between businesses and normal use, business use, residential use, and then just the casual use, which is what our intention would be.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Mr. Whitten, any questions or comments?
According to the backup information in our packets, the current contract is for $135,000 a year?
160,000,
I'm sorry,
almost 161.
161. And this is for the internet and telephones at physical buildings or where we have quote-unquote landlines, not for cell phone usage, correct?
Correct.
Do they provide any hardware with that, or is it all just the kind of the software side that they provide with this contract? Just the internet and just the telephone service, I should say.
Well, I mean, that includes all the wiring and all the end user connections that we need from, facility to facility, and any of the hardware that's in between.
Okay, so
it does not include, Wi-Fi extenders, that kind of thing. Those are all internal and they're universal, so they'll be compatible with whatever provider brings to us.
Okay. Thank you.
Mrs. Westphal?
The only question I had is, who's our current provider, and do we always have just one provider, or do we use multiple?
Metronet, and no, we
Okay.
don't use multiple providers.
Okay,
They all have their proprietary stuff.
okay.
So Metronet's fiber, correct?
It is.
Okay, and then you would have cable as well as potential 5G bidding? Or are we saying
5G
fiber only?
5G is the cell phone, the mobile service. This is all the hardwire into the building, and Metronet provides fiber into the building to our terminal points in the various rooms that we have at the facilities.
So is it like cell phone use that Verizon can use the infrastructure of Metronet, or do they have to
That's
take it all out? If you would say, I'm just using Verizon as an example, but if we said we want to go to Verizon because they offer us less, it could potentially be more because they would have to take out everything, or they get to use this existing infrastructure.
Okay, so this bid has nothing to do with cellular service.
Now, I understand, but
Okay, so
Verizon
we're
has a fiber
using-
system too.
Well, we have a contract with AT&T. I was going to say Ameritech, but AT&T. So that's our cell service. That's not connected to this one at all.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. But like T-Mobile has a fiber, and Verizon, at least in Florida, has fiber available. And I think AT&T is
could-
actually coming out with fiber as well.
They
So
could bid on this if they'd like to, yes.
Okay, but my question is, like, when you use cell phone, all that bandwidth is, all the carriers have common bandwidth.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody wants to bid here, I guess my only question is there going to be a pain in the tail if we go with a different provider because we have to take out all the infrastructure and put in new infrastructure?
Well, that would be, we would expect them to have to really crunch the numbers, because if they're going to have to put in an entirely redundant system, there'll be the upfront costs, and so that should probably be reflected in the bids and the bid comparison.
Okay, and I guess that's my point, is when we look at this, it's not necessarily just going to be the lowest price, it's the best, lowest and best.
Well, it's the lowest and best, and we've not had any issues with Metronet. We're not aware of any issues with any of the common carriers. Our standard is lowest and best bid, and you don't get if you're the lowest, but we have some concerns and reservations, and maybe we don't think you're the best, you have to really be disqualified. Otherwise, we lean heavily on the lowest bid. And again, the bidding and the dollars will reflect whether they're the incumbent or if they've got to put an entirely new system in.
Right. Okay. Sounds good. Any other council members? There's two in the audience. Ms. Hickman?
I don't have a question, but a clarification as the young one in the room.
Just so people can tell who you are.
Madison Hickman, 3rd Ward, City Council.
Thank you.
MetroNet is now under T-Mobile, and Frontier is now under Verizon, and AT&T has their own. So just so you're aware of how all those work.
That makes sense. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Well, I knew Verizon was advertising fiber someplace, and I was like, I don't know how that's coming about. So, okay, gotcha.
Is this their consumer service side, though? Would this be their business service?
I'm not sure what they, which ones what markets they're in yet. I know, Frontier is running lines all over town, as you may or may not have heard.
And if not, ask Councilman Schilling.
No. But whether they've expanded into the business side or not, since it's a different standard, I'm not sure.
Have we already run out the service out to the new park maintenance building?
Yes.
Okay.
Good. Anybody in the audience have any questions? Any other administration comments from any of the administrators out there? Seeing none, Mr. Wooden, how do you wish to proceed?
Move forward.
Mrs. Westphal, how do you wish to
I
proceed?
agree, move forward.
It will have a unanimous recommendation to move forward. Mrs. Knight. The second issue, hold on, I gotta go back to my cheat sheet. The second issue is to provide a recommendation to council regarding authorizing the city auditor to bid for the depository agreement, which must be done every 5 years as required by the ORC.
So this is the request of the city auditor. We are approaching the end of the 5-year agreements. We have relationships with 4 different financial institutions right now, and this would the auditor would go and solicit rates and the whole structure from any bank that and financial institution that wants to. You will, if you recommend and council so approves, there'll be a resolution authorizing the bidding, if you will, and then once the auditor has his recommendations, it'll come back for another resolution with his list of who he'd like to follow up with. He may have 6 or 7 on the list and use 3 or 4 of those, but this gives them the most flexibility as terms and conditions change, which they do from time to time.
I have no questions. Mr. Wooden, you have any questions?
I do not.
Mrs. Westphal, you have any questions? Any other council member have any questions? Anyone in the audience or any other members of the administration have any questions? Seeing none, how do you wish to proceed, Mrs. Westphal?
Move forward.
Mr. Wooden?
Agreed, move forward.
A unanimous recommendation for to move forward, Mrs. Knight. The third issue is to provide a recommendation to council regarding the final consent legislation provided by the Ohio Department of Transportation related to ODOT paying a portion of Experiment Farm Road from North Corporation limits to State Route 41, including the payment of $189,388.80 for the current estimate of the city funding share of the project. Consideration of emergency legislation is required in accordance with the ODOT format. There's been lots of discussion about this, but I guess Mr. Titterton can present and we'll go from there.
So this is part of the 2026 budget in Fund 441 to fund our share of this project. We estimated at the time, we had a preliminary estimate of $180,000. Our updated pre-bid share at 20%, I mean, ODOT could charge us up to 30%. This is a 20% share that we've received from ODOT with updated cost estimates would be closer to $190,000, which we will accommodate within Fund 441. This is the paving from Main Street up to our north corporate boundary with a total estimated cost of just over $1 million, $1,060,000 to be exact. As you mentioned, we are asking for emergency legislation, which is what ODOT asks us to do.
What would the timing on the repaving be?
It'll depend on the contractor, but it is something that we are anticipating will happen the second half of this year.
And not to intertwine issues that are going to exist on Experiment Farm, would it be necessary to repave when the whatever is decided occurs at Experiment Farm and Main Street, or would this uphold through that period of time?
It'll depend on the design and what we do, so there'll probably be some overlap and feathering in, and you know, so they'll no doubt have to take some of the new out, but once they do that, this is an overlay. And, you know, once whatever happens at the intersection, we'll go deeper, if you will. You know, whether it's a roundabout or a stoplight expansion, widening, you know, there'll be a lot more work at that intersection going down to possible utilities, including stormwater, you know, and maybe one or two of the other ones, depending on their condition. So it'll go deeper. So you would have to dig out some of the new pavement anyway. If the timing were better and we were farther along on the intersection, then, you know, like we've done here for the streetscape project, we purposely delayed towards the edges, you know, of the project. We'll try to do some of that in the way ODOT's designing it. They'll get as close as they can, but there'll be some overlap.
Yeah. Well, I think we've all driven Experiment Farm and have heard comments from citizens about Experiment Farm, so it definitely needs to be done. So the de minimis part that will be, I assume, in at least administration's eyes, the de minimis part that we have to duplicate potentially would be exceeded by the benefits of having Experiment Farm down.
You say the administration, ODOT is actually designing, bidding, and managing this project.
Okay.
So they'll have the ultimate control, and we'll coordinate with them.
So they know. I mean, they understand that's a potential issue. Where'd I go? I'll go with Mr. Whitten. Mr. Whitten?
You asked the questions I was going to ask, so I am good.
Mrs. Westfall, any further comments?
Yeah, no comments.
Any other council member have any further comments? Anybody in the audience? Any members of the administration? How would you wish to proceed, Mrs. Westfall?
Move forward with emergency.
Mr. Whitten?
Move forward with emergency.
Unanimous recommendation that we move forward with an emergency designation. Mrs. Knight? Those are the three matters that come before the Finance Committee tonight. Is there anything else, Mrs. Knight? No. Okay, the meeting is closed.